Welcome to another tutorial. Today we'll be creating a Twitch chat command which will spawn fire particle effects on someone's head based on their username. So this will be a Twitch command. Let me show you in Smooth POV what it's going to look like from Twitch's perspective. So in Twitch here we have logged onto my account. If you're not entirely sure how this is or how it works, I do have a Twitch series. I go through a lot of sort of Twitch operations and how you can make things that are Twitch capable, but I realized I'd never really done what you see a lot on Neos's Twitch streams, which is they put objects on people's heads. It just seems like whatever theme of the month it is, they've got like hat, coffee, which goes to your hand, croissant, which goes to the mouth, they had pumpkin for Halloween, which went on their head. I believe they have now got egg or something like that. But anyway, the pattern being copy an object, put it on their body part during the stream. So we're going to be doing fire today. So here's the command. It'll be ! Fire, space, and then the username. And I'll show you what it does. I'm just going to tab briefly to my Twitch channel. I won't have any sort of Twitch footage in here. We can do everything from in the game, just inside Neos even. Let me just do ! Fire. Yep. And prob. So what you'll see is that we've now got two messages here. We had one, now we've got two, fire prop, and there are fire effects coming out of my head. So that's what we're going to be building. Let's take a look. Let me just get rid of this fire on top of my head, and we'll get going. So we're going to need this Twitch chat interface, so I'm going to go ahead and put that here. This cube is where the current command that's running exists. I'm going to leave that to one side just in case I need it, but we're going to actually start making it. Now, one of the things to note when you're making Twitch commands is please only attach them to Twitch when you know that they work. What I see a lot of people do is they'll hook it up to Twitch too early, and then they'll spend basically half their day entering stuff into Twitch chat. You can do everything without Twitch chat, and then at the last minute, link it to Twitch chat if everything works. I'll show that process as I create this command, but please try and follow it for other commands that you may make. By the way, this doesn't have to be fire, and actually doesn't have to be the head. You can change out some stuff as we go, and I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to start with a few things that will emulate what a Twitch chat message looks like, but don't actually require Twitch, like I said. So let's go ahead and get that started. With a Logix tip equipped here, I'm going to open up the node browser here, and I'm going to go to input impulse and spawn that in the world. And I'm going to go to actually input and string and spawn that in the world. What this is going to emulate is our Twitch command here. We can say that the message was sent by hitting this pulse node, and then we can put the message here as our message. So here I'm going to go ahead and enter what I just entered into chat, fire, and then prob. And now what we've got is a setup, which means we don't need to tab to Twitch and enter commands all day. Let's now get started with writing this command. The first thing we need to check is if it contains the word fire or our trigger word. So let's go ahead and do that. For this, we're going to be using a flow if node. So I cover if node in a different video because there was confusion between if and ::, or ternary, as other people call it. The if node is used only when you have an impulse chain. So this is an impulse chain. Any sort of white node is an impulse chain. With that spawned, we're now going to use some string nodes. If you haven't seen string nodes before, they basically take our string, which is sort of known as a piece of text here, and they manipulate it in various ways. The one that we'll start by using is starts with. So if we go inside string, there's this lovely one here called starts with. Starts with will check if a certain string starts with another string that you specify. So we're going to check if our incoming command, which is going to be this for now, it'll be a Twitch command later, is this. So if this string here starts with our command. In this case, our command is !fire. Now you can do whatever you'd like here. Do hat, sunglasses, whatever you'd like. Do note we'll be going fire for the rest of this video then. So what we need to do here is we need to plug in the output of starts with into the bottom of if, and then plug our pulse into the top of if. If will take out two outputs, one if it's true, one if it's false. I'm just going to test this now by pulling out the true input, holding secondary, pulling out the false input, and hitting output even, and hitting secondary. And now we can hit pulse, and you'll see we get a true. And that's because our fake Twitch command here does start with fire. If I were to edit this real quick, and change it to fear, or !fear, or the fir tree, we can hit pulse, and you'll see the false one comes out. So now you know that all of the impulses coming out of the top of here mean we've already got our command set up, and so we can take a look at it. So let me change this back to fire real quick. There we are, fire. And now the next thing we need to do is figure out what user that the user in Twitch is referring to, because it's fire prop, which refers to me. So this is a little bit tricky and does require some string nodes. There's multiple ways to do this. This is the way I'm going to do it for the tutorial. If you'd like to try other ways, go for it. If you other people teach you other ways, that's also cool. The way we're going to be doing it here is we're going to be figuring out where after !fire we need to look for, because the rest of the message should be the username. The easiest way to do that is to first of all get the length of our commands. We use string length for that. That'll get the length of !fire. So in this case, that's 5. And then we need to add 1 to that, and that covers the space. We can use operators and +1 for that, which will get us 6. So we know that everything after 6 is just my username. It's just prob. We've included the space there. So now we can plug this 6 into another string node called substring. So we go to string, substring, and we plug the full string, so our command, into the top of substring, and then we plug the result here, 6, into the start index. And you'll see what we get out of here is just prob, or the username. If I were to type my full username here, you'll see we're still getting that. So if anyone typed anyone's username, or anyone's user, whatever it might be, it would work. We'll leave this as prob, though, because it shows something else, which is handy. I'm going to get rid of the 6 here and get rid of prob here. Is that we're going to now turn this string into a user that's in the world. They have to be in the world for this to work. Let me turn off the mirror, that's a bit distracting. And to do that, we're going to be using the users, and then user from username. I always lose this one. User from username right here. User from username is here. We're going to be using the user from username, and this will turn a string into a user if it can find it, and user has to be in the world. So we plug the output of substring into the top of user from username, and we plug pull out a ribbon from ignore case, hit secondary, connect the false to the bottom as well, and then hit true. And what this does is it sets ignore case and allow partial match to true on both of these. So what this is going to do is give us a user. If we pull this out and hit secondary, you'll see that you've now got me, username !probablePrime. And again, the reason why this is so cool is because we're not using the Twitch chat message right now, we can do all of our Logix with that command there. I don't have to type anything else. I don't have to tap to Twitch. We're still just testing using that. Let's delete these. And now we need to find the body part that we'd like to attach our fire to. Let's go ahead and find that. So we can go to back here, and we need to go to avatar and then body node slot. Body node slot is a useful component, node that will find the slot of a body part from a user. So we plug in my user, and then here we see node body slot. We're just going to pull out a ribbon here and hit secondary, and then you'll see that this has got a left and right arrow. If you just hit right a few times, you'll end up at head. Keep going. There we go, head. So we can pull this out, and this gets my head. My head is called haunch for very weird reasons. Don't worry about it. It's my head. Trust me. So now that we've got the head, what we can do is start using that head location to say where we want the object to go to. For that, we need to first of all create the object, though. Much like the previous video uploaded in this channel, you might not be watching these numerically, that's totally fine, but much like the previous video, which I'll link in the description, where I created a campfire and attached that to a tool, we'll be using the duplicate slot node here and the template pattern, as I kind of call it, to copy the fire so that we can use it. Let's go ahead and get that set up. For this, we go to back, and we go to slots, and we go to duplicate slot. Duplicate slot will clone an object here. So duplicate slot will need to take a template slot, and I realize we haven't actually got one here. That's totally fine. We'll go ahead and get that spawned out. So what you can do if you want a fire particle effect really easily is you can go to public !probablePrime, particles fire, and then the object on the left here is this yellow fire that we're dealing with, usual fire colors. So we're just going to leave that hanging in the world right now. I'll tidy up later, but it's, cool. We're around a fire to make a command. And we're going to go ahead and get a reference to that so we can duplicate it. To do that, I'm going to aim my developer tip at the center of the fire. Hit my context menu, hit open inspector. Switch back to the Logix tip here, grab fire, and then we can push secondary here, and that creates an interface card for it. We can now plug the top of this into the bottom of duplicate slot. And now we also need to plug the top of if into the top of duplicate slot. We can get rid of this now. And what this now means is that when this command happens, we will now get our duplicate fire, but the duplicate fire isn't going anywhere yet. We have the location it needs to go, but it's not going anywhere next. So what we need to do is do a couple of operations. First of all is parent it. The reason we parent it is so that when the user's running around because their head's on fire, it will follow them. So we're going to parent it first. Let's go ahead and do that. Conveniently, the parent node is inside slots, but I'll show you again. Slots, set parent. Put that next to the duplicate slot, and then we just plug the white input into the white output into the white input. plug duplicate into the top green one, which is the instance. This is the thing we want to parent. And then the second one here is the new parent for it. So we'll plug in the body node slot output into the new parent. What this then means is duplicate the fire, set it to the parent of the head, so glue it to the head. But now we need to set its position. Say you run the command right now, it would duplicate it, set its parent to my head, but it would leave it exactly there. So I'd kind of have like a fire beam coming out of my head where the fire's over there. We want to make it so it's on my head. Let's do that next. We're going to be using a quite large node, but we only need to touch one of the inputs for it. We can find that in the transform folder. Inside the transform folder, go to set local transform. There it is, set local transform. Spawn that next to set parent, and then plug it in like so. We connect the output of set parent to the input of set local transform, the output of the duplicate slot node to the instance input of set local transform, and then all we need to do is specify a position here. The position that we're going to specify is a little bit higher than the head. Let me turn on the mirror here so I can... So what we're going to be doing is, by default right now, it's going to set to the middle of my head, about here. This is actually conveniently where my facial tracker is. Facial tracker tutorial is coming soon. And what we want to do is make it sort of, more up here, so it looks like their head's on fire, like in, films and TV. So to do that, we just need to add a little bit of an offset so that it goes up the head a little bit. Let's go ahead and do that. To do that, what we're going to do is, because we're using local transforms here, I haven't really done a video on local versus global. I will at some point. Local transforms are relative to their parent. We just need to raise it a little bit on the y-axis. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and go to position, drag out a ribbon, hit secondary, and then specify a value here. You will have to tweak this depending on your object. If you watch some of the streams where Fruix makes a command, they do tweak it. I do know that 0.2 here is a suitable level for my fire effect here, but if you're using something different, it might need a different position. So that's set up, and let me just double check things. We should be good now. So what I'm going to do now, and again, remember, we're not attached to Twitch. I'm not tabbing back to Twitch. I'm going to take this pulse node and take it over to the mirror. I hit pulse, and you'll see there's now fire coming out of my head. Now, it's a little bit back in the head. It's actually in the sort of center of my head at the back here, so you might want to adjust the position forwards a little bit. To do that, we're just going to go ahead and look, there's fire coming out of my head. We're going to specify a little bit of a, I can never remember if it's forward or backwards. Let's go ahead and try this out. So let me get rid of the previous fire here. Add another one. There we go, that's more like it. It's coming out the middle of my head. So I added a Z offset, so it came forwards. Do keep in mind that different people's avatars are different dimensions, different orientations, etc. So you might end up with an effect that doesn't work on all people. I've seen that the hat, the pumpkin command, and even the bobblehead command has differing effects for the people that are in the Neo streams usually. For example, if it happens to Nex, you'll end up seeing a camera view of inside his face for a little bit. It's just one of the things with these Twitch commands. You can kind of tweak them if you know it's just going to be your stream, but if they're for everyone, you kind of just have to deal with it. So this is good for me. I'm happy what this looks like. If you're doing something else, for example, a hat, a beverage, or whatever you want to do on any body part, go for it. Just, tweak around with that offset. Use this pulse node that I showed you and, stand in front of a mirror and hit it. Again, this isn't hooked up to Twitch yet, which is actually quite cool because we can just test this and we don't need to tab to Twitch and we don't need to send messages. We'll go ahead and kill this fire on top of my head, and now we're going to go ahead and do the last part. So the last part is actually connecting it to Twitch. Let's go ahead and do that. I cover this in my full Twitch tutorial series, but we'll do it now. So what we're going to do is select a Twitch chat interface here. This one I've spawned out from my inventory here, but you can also grab one from your camera control. So I'll do that now as well. Actually, you'll see behind the... Oh, it's already on private UI for some reason. Oh, it's probably the inventory that we're looking at. So on the right-hand side here of the camera control, there's a Twitch icon. That'll spawn this Twitch chat to the right in this sort of cyan color. Hit the half moon icon, and then you'll get one in the world here. So that's how you do that. With that done, we can go ahead and turn off private UI so it's not in the way. You'll see that it spawns in with just any old channel name at the top. It's usually the last channel name you specified. Put in your channel name at the top here. Then go ahead and inspect it. So to inspect it, I'm going to hit secondary with my developer tooltip, go to Open Inspector, hit the big fat top arrow on the left here, and you'll see Twitch chat. Go to the top where it says Twitch chat, select that. Scroll through this Twitch chat slot here. Keep scrolling till you see Twitch interface. Here it is. Grab Twitch interface and spawn it in the world as secondary. So now we have a Twitch chat interface. Actually, don't need the fire anymore. I know we do need the fire. I'll just put that there for the moment. So now we've got the Twitch chat interface, and now we need to connect to Node in place of where fire is and this pulse is. So hit back here and go to Network, and then Twitch chat message event. This one here, Twitch chat message event. Spawn that in the world. connect the top of Twitch interface to the input for Twitch chat message, and then you'll start getting events for a Twitch chat message event. We're only going to be using 2 properties of the Twitch chat message event. There are numerous properties here. This is also the point where I say, like, hey, there's no cooldowns on this. If you're doing this live, do be very careful. I'm not covering cooldowns today. You can do cooldowns quite easily using the flow where are we? It's just renamed itself, so it got renamed in the last update. There it is. Local impulse timeout. Impulse timeout will allow you to sort of block impulses that come through. I won't be covering that one today. Actually, go for it. We'll cover it, but I want to disconnect it just so we can, spam it. What you do here is you put the on message through, and then you put the top of the if up here to go. Actually, no, the top of the if goes into the top of the local impulse timeout. Disconnect that Twitch chat message there. And then this will only output an impulse here if it hasn't been a certain number of amount of time before it last had an impulse here. So what we can do here is put a timeout in seconds here. So let's say someone can set fire to someone's head every 30 seconds. We'll put 30 here. And now you'll see that the first impulse goes through here, but subsequent ones don't go through until 30 seconds has elapsed. So that's a good way to do sort of cooldown, so you don't have people spamming them. I will not be doing that for the rest of the tutorial, though, because it's good that we can spam it whilst we're testing, but do keep in mind you need to add those. Let's go ahead and reconnect that if back up to the duplicate slot node, and then we'll continue connecting things as per normal. So we connect the top of Twitch chat message event to the top of the if. And then here's a tip which I usually do when I'm reconnecting nodes. You'll see that we've got 2 ribbons. We've got this ribbon here and this ribbon here that both mean the command, right? So what we can do here is we can grab in the middle of the ribbon whilst logic tip's equipped, and we'll get this relay here. We can connect the output of the relay to the starts with, and now we've only got 1 output here, which is a lot easier to swap between the 2 states, test and not test. So here we can put the second output of Twitch chat message event, which is message, into this relay, and it will connect both automatically. And let's say we weren't done with testing, we can reconnect the test string there and then reconnect the actual message. Let's go ahead and delete that message as soon as we don't need it anymore. And now we can go ahead, because it's all connected up, we can tab over to Twitch. So I'm actually going to bring this over. There we go. My tooltips there, tab to Twitch. I'm using an overlay to do this. I technically use, I prefer OVR toolkit, but whatever overlay you'd like could be totally fine. Here we go, typing it and hitting enter. And you'll see I entered a message in here. You'll see there's now a 3rd message, and I've got the fire effect above my head. Actually interesting, you can see shadows of the inside of my face here. Not many people know I can remove my face, so there you go, I can remove my face, it's fun. And my tools live inside there. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one because it's quite bright. There we go. And that means our command is done. What we need what we need to do now, though, is we need to pack it up with inside the Twitch chat such that we can take the Twitch chat with us and have that command wherever we take it. So to do that, what we're going to do is go to the top of Twitch chat. We're going to create a new slot underneath it using the star. I'm going to call this one Twitch chat, and we'll call it fire. I do recommend creating a new slot for each command you do. If you unpack the Twitch chat that the Neos team uses, you can actually find that within your inventory. Let me go ahead and show you where that is so you can play around with it. If you go inside Neos Essentials, you'll see this sky here. Looks like a skybox. It says Twitch Chat Master. That's the one that has all the commands which they use on the Neos Twitch stream. So play around with that one. That's a much more complicated setup that honors sort of subscriber-only commands and things like that. But we're just going to do this one here, this one command here. So we've got a Twitch chat fire slot here. I'm going to go underneath that and I'll make another slot for Logix. You'll see why in just a second. I'm going to rename that one to Twitch chat fire Logix. And what we'll do here is pack that Logix into there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Twitch chat fire Logix. Open up the Logix context menu, go to set packing route. Aim at somewhere of the white nodes within our setup here and hit secondary. That will pack away all that Logix. Then the last thing we need to do is to parent the fire to that area as well, such that when we take this Twitch chat to another world, the fire effect comes with it. So I'll show you how to do that now. What we're going to do here is operate on the template pattern, as I keep calling it. Not sure if anyone's going to get weirded out by that, but that's what I'm calling it. We'll select Twitch chat fire. We'll create another new slot, and I'm going to call this one template. I'm going to set this one to inactive, and now I'm going to parent the fire effect to it. So I'll go ahead and select this, open inspector, grab the fire effect, drop it into template. You'll see it instantly turns off. And then I just like to reset the position and rotation of the fire effect. What that's done there is it's set up a template slot which we can use to clone it, and it won't exist on the actual chat here. The reason this works is because when we clone it using duplicate slot, we immediately set its parent, and in this case we set the parent to the user's head, right? But when we reset its parent, it's active, and it gets set to an active parent, as in my active head, and that means it suddenly appears, and we don't have an extra fire floating around. So we have the template set to inactive, but the fire set to active, so when it gets reparented, it's magically on, and we don't need to do a set active node on top of that. With that done, you've now got a Twitch command working that parents fire to someone's head when they do !fire. I just realized why the fire was so bright when I did it the third time. That's because I've still got this box here. This box is the first attempt I did at it. I always build something and then show you what I'm going to build, and then we build it as a tutorial. So that's why we had 2 fires there. That's why it was so bright. Go ahead and save this to your inventory, and then when you spawn it out, you'll have that fire command everywhere. It's a good idea if you're making commands to keep adding them to the same Twitch chat such that you can have them available. It's also a good idea to use dynamic impulses to do this whole effect. I will link to various videos about the Twitch interface, one where I go over the chats in a lot more detail. I also go over how to turn a light on and off. That was the example command I did there. It's been a while since I did that series, and I wanted to cover the trope that I'm seeing, which, like I said at the start, was objects appearing on people's heads or other body parts during the Twitch streams. So I hope that was helpful. Leave any comments, suggestions, or questions you have in the comments, and I'll get back to you soon. Bye-bye.